So it's just a lot that's been going on lately. Hold on, let me turn this thing down real quick. So it's not a lot. So I don't want to.
You can be free. So I thought I'm helping you. See, they're not just programming you to be a slave yourself. They're programming you to enslave others. They're programming you to recruit and enslave others, and so that does all the work. It's Satan's perfect plan.
Mouth is a little bit dry. I'm not going to sit there and say like everybody else, this is a black people conversation and this is this and this is that. Not trying to be famous, not trying to do anything. I'm just that person that likes to tell the truth on my page. Why is it so cold? So I have a situation with my apartment, well, townhome, I should say, where the heating and cooling is so bad. Hey, I told you to lay down, lady. Go to bed. Now, don't make me say it again. Let's sit there and clean up all this stuff that you messed in mom's room. Oh, Jesus. So cold. So, here's the thing. My friends are coming in town, but I don't like her boyfriend. And the reason why I don't like her boyfriend is because he's a chauvinist. And for somebody that doesn't have a lot, it just rubs me the wrong way. How you treat her, how you deal with her, and everything else. In this video, I'm probably going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So, I'm not friends with two people anymore. I'm not friends with A, C, and A. So, the first A, we've been friends since like 2nd grade. And we stopped being friends because she chose her boyfriend over me, which is fine. But I'm not saying she needs to choose me over her boyfriend. Relationships are great. But it's the devil that kind of got into her. And I have to say that because her attitude is funk. I spent almost $30 for her stepkids to eat something. And then she got an attitude over something. I was trying to have an adult conversation. She's too pick-me-ish to deal with the fact that she chooses men that only want to beat her and abuse her, then sleep with her and do other stuff. So she ended a friendship because she felt like I don't understand anything and I don't deal with anything. I had another friend that was named Jay. That's not her real name. Her real name starts with a H, but she changed it because she hates her dad. So we lost friendship because she was fake. That's one thing. We discussed something that I really didn't want to discuss, and she kept probing the situation, yet she calls herself saved. Watch out for those kind of Christians. Me and Candace stopped being friends because I just got tired of her being a bully. And the reason why she was a bully is because she felt like because she was in a relationship, she could tell anybody what to do, but she's a pick-me. You would sit there and you are judging other people's life, yet you don't take care of your kids that great. You wish one of them wasn't around you. You wish you could just hang with your son because your daughter takes up too much of your time. You're struggling in parenting, but you made those decisions to have children. Nobody told you to open up your legs to them, but that's what you did though. You have a boyfriend, but you only use him for sex and other things, and then you want somebody to feel sorry for you. Yet you got mad because I said something about you because you were hurting my feelings because you snatched my hat off my head because you didn't want people to think that we were lesbians. Mind you, I was dressing for the cold and you were dressing like a hoe. Your dress was almost 2 inches below the thing in sub-degree weather. Mind you, Indiana has the worst weather in the wintertime. We're not like Dakota, but we have bad weather, and it can make you sick. So, I was angry with her because she talks about everybody else and her friends. And then when somebody said something to her, it's a problem. So I was talking to her other friend because I said, I don't really know how to handle her. Her other friend said she's not going to change. So it's fine. She said she was going to come down for New Year's or whatever and hang out and go to the casino. She sat there, told Candace everything. And then I found out that her and Candace were not really having problems, that they kind of made it up just so they could be friends again. So I texted Candace and I said, really? So y'all have been friends all this time? Both of y'all could have a good one. Don't sit there and try to justify why you talk about people than when somebody talks about you like it couldn't happen to you. Mind you, I was telling her things that was happening because she was being abusive as a friend. I would come over. This is how weird she was. Even when I was in Indianapolis, I stayed literally on the north side. She would never come and visit me, but I always had to come visit her. Then when I'd come visit her, she was always on her phone. She's in a relationship, that's fine. But if you don't want me over there, be over there. You know what I'm saying? And then got mad because I wanted to hang out with Adrian. Adrian wanted to hang out with me anyway. But Adrian is a bitch because she didn't want to tell the truth about the fact that she sat there and said she didn't want Candace to come over. When I told Candace that she didn't want to come over, that's when she told her everything that I said. I really don't care. Because I had the heart to say what you couldn't say. You still wanted to hang out with her and be weird. You wanted to just her not have any friends. Mind you, she doesn't have a lot of black friends, hence why she's colorist. Hence why she doesn't like her father very much. Hence why she needs therapy. Mind you, I'm not exploiting my friends. I just don't like the fact that they're pick-me women. They rather stay in abusive relationships than have love and support because they're pick-me's. Now, I know what that feels like because I was in an abusive relationship, and I'm going to expose that. So me and Tony have been together for since 2018, and I hate being and here's what I'm going to say. For the LGBTQ community, this is nothing against you, but it's just not for me. So I'm not going to be identifying as bisexual anymore, and the reason why is because I want to get closer to God. I don't care if people say it's not, God's not going to tell you to hate yourself. I've been in church my whole life. I'm not going to sit there and lie on God. I'm sorry. There are biblical reasons that say that it's wrong. So anyway, I met Tony on Instagram. First, I didn't believe her because I thought she was famous. She wasn't famous. She would always use Tony Braxton pictures, but she wasn't Tony Braxton. She was somebody else. So I thought it was weird. So that should have been the first indication that she was weird. She's older than me, but the problem is that it was to the point where it was getting too much. She didn't like men, and it should have been a telltale sign that the reason why she didn't like men was because of her previous relationship. We were together for that. I was expecting her to come meet me in person. She never did. I would pay for stuff. I would take care of stuff. And then come Christmas, almost every single Christmas from 2018 to now, she would never do anything. To the point where I was basically the guy in the relationship. This is the reason why I say being a same-sex relationship is for the birds. For those who love it, that's cool. But come on, there's got to be better than this. And so she sits there and proceeds to get frustrated with me this year because I broke it off. And I broke it off because I believe that no woman can cover a woman. Now, if you believe that, that's your belief. I'm sorry. That's your belief. That is literally your belief. But I believe God is calling me out of it because I'm not doing an old Donnie McClurkin, all this other stuff. I truly believe God is working with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit there and say, ooh, God is working with me while I'm still doing stupid stuff on the side. Mind you, nobody is perfect. So we struggle with our decisions every day. Trust me, I'm in counseling. I'm praying about the situation. But this woman literally robbed me of my youth. I was happy. It was to the point where, I was stealing. I was doing stuff, not stealing like physically stealing, taking stuff meaning like using other monies to give her things. I was robbing myself, not telling the truth to my family members, not doing anything. It got so bad to where people would literally stop talking to me because that's all I was doing that. But it's to the point where I don't like her anymore. She'd email me, text me, and say, you need to pay for this or pay for that. Just anything to harass. And I literally told her, I said, I was homeless one time. You didn't do anything. You didn't come in town and do nothing. I was literally in a position where I was so struggling so bad. You actually did not care. You weren't there. And then I told her, I said, how many more holidays do I have to spend by myself? Because technically, I thought we were single. Well, come to find out, she was in a whole nother relationship. Tell me why she was married and never told me. Got married recently, never told me. Had me believing we were still in a relationship. Got married, has 2 children. Don't really, and I knew she had children from a previous relationship, but never told me anything. Mad now because I want a man, because like I told her in the beginning, men are not that bad. It's the type of men that you choose, and I told her that. Still getting mad because it doesn't go her way. All this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just all this other random stuff. And I think the reason why I chose this relationship is because I was having strong mommy issues and daddy issues. Because mind you, my dad's in Arizona with a white woman, and he doesn't really call me unless I call him or unless he feels urged to call me. Me and my mom have a on and off, sometimes a good relationship, sometimes a not good relationship. And it's only because I'm getting older, she's getting older, our patience is a little bit more thin. Her situation is really bad right now, and I don't have the heart to talk about it, but I just don't have patience for people that are abusive anymore. And I don't like my other friend's boyfriend because too many times I've had to tell him about himself, about talking to her like a 3-year-old. I told him multiple times, like, I don't care what he does as long as he's respectful, and he continues to disrespect stuff. And this is the reason why I don't want nothing to do with them. I don't, because I don't have the patience for it. I even told her, I said, if he's not going to be respectful, he's not coming. I'm not dealing with it. I'm tired of being in a situation where I'm dealing with abusive men that don't take responsibility for their actions. I have been in this world for 29 years of my life and never felt like I was covered. The only time I felt like I was covered was with my mom. So I knew that the devil was kind of playing with my mind about, okay, no man will ever like you because you're ugly. That's how I felt. Because in high school, nobody did like me except for white guys. And then in middle school, nobody liked me at all because I was the weird one. I was the nerd. I was all these other things. And when you grow up in a small town like Terre Haute, nobody really thinks about you. The white girls are more important than the black girls. And it's always been like that. It's still like that. I mean, shoot, I have white people in my family, unfortunately. I don't want to say unfortunately, but it's unfortunate because she don't even like my uncle. That's for another conversation. I am in a position where I hated God so much because I hated the fact that everybody else had relationships and I could never have one. So I just said, forget it. I stopped going to church. I stopped reading my Bible. I didn't really want to be bothered with anybody. I just did what I wanted to do in this really weird lesbian relationship. And it was to the point where my mom was getting angry. I got a tattoo of her on my arm. She was agitated, and she was just like, Tony's not a real person. And I said, she is a real person. And I knew that she was real, but she wasn't real in person. And I'm going to explain that. And the reason why I say she wasn't real, because people who really love you and claim to be in a relationship with you are going to show up for you. Multiple times in this relationship, online, in person, at a dinner, I've been stood up probably 80 times. She told me one time she was in town after I paid for her flight. I came to the airport, didn't see her in sight, didn't hear from her for hours. I was so angry with her, I broke it off this year. Because I know God is going to send a good man. Because like I said, a woman cannot be covered by another woman. I don't really care what anybody has to say. If you feel like that would work, that's great. But I know God is a little bit smarter than that. I'm not going to do this, affirming type life where he accepts everybody. No, he doesn't. He says it very clear in his word what he doesn't accept. So mind you, I'm in a relationship with this person. She's older than me. She's using me for my money. I was longing for something. I don't know. We were physical one time. And I think that's when it struck, because she was like the first female relationship, first female everything. I got so sick of dealing with her crap, I cut it off. And still to this day have text messages, still to this day have things, because she's mad at the fact that I want to expose her for who she is. You got to be careful of the people who only want to drain you. And I don't really like Tony because I feel like she's fake. She wants to 1 minute tell her family and friends that she's such a good person and she doesn't do anything wrong, yet she uses people for money all the time. All the time. And when people tell you, okay, that's enough, it was to the point where my taxes were getting messed up. I asked to take out a loan with somebody who I did not trust, and they took all of the money out of my bank account to the point where I was in the negative. I was owing Teachers Credit Union $1,458, and I was not even in college yet. I just dropped out of Ivy Tech. Mind you, there was a lot of stuff that was going on at Ivy Tech in Indianapolis. I did not have a good job. I was working at Sodexo. My mom was working at Carson's. There was a whole lot of stuff going on. I don't really like the other stuff, but it's what it was. So I was to the point where it's like I felt like I was losing every single time. I remember when I got this tattoo, I said, it's going to be a representation. We're going to get married and all this other stuff. And then when I found out that she used the ticket money that I was giving her to go get her hair done, to go get stuff for her kids, knowing that she gets money from her ex-husband for certain stuff, just anything to be abusive. I was so angry with Tony. I wanted her to leave. It was to the point where we were threatening each other. We were going to hurt each other. We were going to fight each other. But that's all a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? Lesbians know how to play games with people. They do. And then they want to sit there on social media and say stuff like, oh, that's not what it is. You want to cosplay as men just so you can put that aggression instead of just getting a man and loving you for who you are. That stuff. I was so hurt. I was so upset. I went to I went to the airport and I was literally looking for her. I was like 2 hours looking for her. She left me high and dry and took the money. Parts of me was so angry. I wanted to find her and stab her. That's how bad it was. But this is why I knew this relationship was not for me. So I ended the relationship. She would get the relationship and try to manipulate the situation. She would keep trying to do stuff. She would keep trying to do this, keep trying to do that. It just wasn't beneficial. So now I'm in the point where I'm like, Lord, take her out of my life. It's to the point where I can't get any rest, couldn't sleep. I wanted her gone. So anytime I tried to remove the tattoo, I got sick, all this other stuff that was happening. I was going through all types of stuff. I hate this woman, and I still do. I hope if she sees this, that she goes through 10 times what she's going through. Her lose her job, lose custody of her kids, lose everything. Because women like you are ridiculous. I stopped hanging with Chantel. Chantel was my best friend, and I really miss her so bad, but I'm so glad she's out of my life. Because 95% of my friends that I had in Terre Haute always used me because mom was a nice person, grandma was a nice person, so they would put out a nice spread and do all this wonderful things for people. They would talk about me at school, of course. I was friends with Danae, and she was cool and all this other stuff, but she got mad because my mom overheard a conversation, and then she thought I told her mom something. No, she was just that type of girl that she didn't know how to keep her stuff to herself. That. So I stopped being friends with a lot of people last year, this year, and the year before that because I'm trying to protect my heart. I'm tired of dealing with female bullies because sometimes I even told my mom, I said, you could be a bully sometimes too and you don't see it. So Richmond situation was another conversation for another day. I'm so emotionally drained in the spirit. I just want my life back. I just want to be happy. I want to look like myself. I don't want to feel broken like I feel. But because of the past relationships that I've had with men that don't work, and then finding out I can't have kids, it just made me feel like I had no purpose. The one thing I wanted in life, at least allowed me to be a mother. But God took that ability, so whatever. I just came to the grips that I just don't care anymore. I was so mad with my uncle because I felt like my mother's family is all Christian, but what she's going through, nobody has called her except for Uncle Daryl. And it hurts because you're in a saved family who is supposed to be obtaining God's spirit. And then I have one uncle that I can't stand. My Uncle Billy and me don't get along because he likes to hold everybody to the cross for their sins, but always wants you to apologize for hurting him, but he hurts people even worse. He's an Aquarius, so typical. They don't take responsibility for anything when it comes down to them hurting other people, but they always want you to take responsibility for you hurting them. But I just was to the point where I've been feeling alone for a long time, and I'm just now comfortable being by myself because I realize I have no family. I have no community. I thought I had a community, but they don't love me like that. Family members are supposed to love you regardless, but you like to isolate people and then tell Christians to love your family. You guys are the perfect representation of why church will never be church. I remember high school, we were in my grandmother's house, and Mom had to buy wood because my aunt turned the lights off, turned the water off, turned the heating off. So Mom had to go to the woods to get wood. We had to get water from her friend to flush the toilet. It was so bad that we were sick. I have asthma. So it was so bad that the bishop in Indianapolis does not like my aunt to this day because she's weird. Like, she asked me last year if I had a criminal record. Mind you, they're used to not looking black, so they think that they can talk to people any kind of way. You know, the long-haired black people that we're making it in life because we don't look black, those kind of people. But Mom's the only one that doesn't have long hair. I don't like her sisters because I feel like they're very manipulative, and I'm going to go for one and one. I don't like her younger sister because she thinks she's better than everybody. I don't like her older sister that's behind the other older sister because she likes to play both sides and then wants to blame me for stuff because I see through her crap. She is not relevant to me, but she won't talk to Mom because she feels like that I did something to her. I don't care. I apologize. I tried to be nice, but her family is weird. I don't like, it took me years to understand why I couldn't stand my Aunt Rhonda. I love her. But when I was younger, I didn't like her for a lot of reasons. Just a lot of reasons. Just said all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It took me, to get older to understand that maybe this is not the way you do it. I don't like my cousins because they're fake sometimes. The reason why I don't like them is because they allow sibling rivalry that had nothing to do with our birth to affect the way we look at each other. We call ourselves apostolic. We call ourselves Pentecostal apostolic, but we don't know how to forgive each other. So I stopped going to church. I stopped reading my Bible. I stopped fasting. I got into the world a little bit. I started doing whatever I wanted to do. I got into drinking really bad. I got into smoking really bad. I didn't pop pills, but I came close. I had people offering me all types of drugs because they did not want to see me happy. I'm stressed out today because I got a lot of stuff going on, but it's just a lot. I'm to the point in my life where I want things to go smoothly. And if it's not going to go smoothly, I don't want to be bothered with it. I had jobs where I wasn't always a good person, but this year is probably going to be the last year I'm going to be an aide because I don't want it anymore. Being CNA was nice and it helped, but I don't want to do it anymore. Because I'm tired of the racism and I'm tired of the way we get treated as black people. But there will be a part 2 probably tomorrow. A lot of other stuff that's going on. I'm going to let you know what happens. And you guys have a blessed one. I'm getting tired. And this has been another episode of SMS News Channel. And you guys enjoy your weekend and happy MLK Day.